Hello.
Hi, Ashley. How are you, dear?
Fine. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well, thank you.
Let's see.
Just trying to get everything hopefully set up.
You're all good. Let's see.
Now, are you able? Okay. I just wanted to make sure I hit the right button so that you could share your screen when you got ready. Yes, that's beautiful.
Are you seeing this screen?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Perfect. I've had enough computer issues this morning. I don't need any more.
Mine started yesterday and it hasn't ended yet.
I'm just hoping I can go through this without my computer melting down or something else going on. Just
Okay.
fingers crossed.
All righty. I think it'll be fine either way.
All right.
I'm going to step away from my computer just for a moment and get me a little bottle of water.
Okay, and I'm going to run to the restroom really quick.
Okay. Logs in besides us, I think. Yeah, because we said that 6 minutes. I had to go back to like 6 and 4, like ATV, and I did things back. I sent out one batch, I really did, because I couldn't figure out why I didn't let me do it. Yeah. And I went back in, you gotta get an email back. Go get it back. Then I got, this, somebody checked it. That's Christine. Hello, Christine.
Hello. Uh-huh. Okay. Get ready to start our Zoom for 2 o'clock. For 2 o'clock, yeah.
Hello there.
Hello.
Okay, hi. No, they logging in on the thing. Okay. Everything going good? Is everything? Oh, wow. Okay, hon. Bye-bye.
Hi, Christine.
Hello, everyone.
Hello there, Christine.
How's everybody?
Good.
Doing well, doing well.
Good.
Hello, Stephen.
Hi there, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Thank you much for doing this.
It is our pleasure. We have had so much fun with the probate records over the years. And just about all of the staff from AAHA is present here on this call today. And I'm going to just talk for a minute and then we'll turn it over to Ashley, who is our records expert from the Library of Virginia.
I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but
Oh, yeah, I would. Well, we share and we learn as we go, but it's quite rewarding when you get into it. Angela worked with the probate records here at AAHA at Fauquier. A few people had abstracted into books information pertaining to the wills up through 1865. So she's gone through and she's abstracted the names of all of the enslaved and free people of color into an Excel spreadsheet. And that will assist researchers. It hasn't been uploaded to our website yet, and we're hoping to do that in the near future. But my Zoom just booted me off for a minute. I'm hoping you can still hear me.
We can.
Okay, great.
I can anyway.
Okay.
And we can see you.
I can hear you.
Okay. I'm just admitting a couple of other people real quick. Okay. So as we had said, today's agenda is basically sharing information about researching one of the resources locally that you would find in a record room, which is the probate records. And the wills pertain a lot of information for the general researcher, but we just want to make sure that we also highlighted in particular things of interest, areas of interest in which you would be able to find free and enslaved people of color. So without anything else to say, except for many questions, I'm sure, I'll turn this over to Ashley Ramey, who's the community outreach specialist at the Library of Virginia. And we should be streaming to Facebook Live, hopefully.
Why, hello everyone. I am Ashley Ramey. I'm the Community Outreach Specialist for the Library of Virginia. And today I'm going to chat with you about probate records at the Library of Virginia and all the wonderful things you can find in them for genealogy. And if you've done any presentations with me, I do a little agenda and then I do dive into the research. So today we're going to talk about the introduction to the Library of Virginia, an introduction to probate records, especially wills, where to find wills at the Library of Virginia, and what is in wills that is so fabulous for family historians and genealogists as well. Have any of you been to the library before? Yes? No? Maybe so?
Yes.
I love hearing yeses.
No, I have not.
Yes, I
And
have.
No.
I hope you come during normal circumstances. When COVID's over, come on over.
Yes.
Our doors are always open. The Library of Virginia was established in 1823 by the General Assembly to care for the state's growing book collection and all the documentations they were collecting at that time. So currently we have over 129 million manuscripts and printed resources.
Are you zooming?
So that includes governor's papers, private papers, which are Bibles, journals, diaries. We also have newspapers, we have wills, we have deeds, we have land records, we have personal property tax records. We have tons of different things in our collection that can help with genealogy, as well if you're doing research on journals or researching for school as well. Due to the COVID pandemic, we are only open Tuesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. by appointment only. You would have to call in advance to schedule an appointment, and you can find all of that information on our website, which is down here on the screen. And then check our website out for any programmings, closings, directions, where there is to park when you do come to see us. We do have parking in our building, so don't worry about that. So if you have any other questions about the library, that's where you can go and get that. So let's dive in. How many of you have worked with probate records or will specifically? I might get a bunch of head nods. Yeah.
Yes.
So what exactly are probate records? According to Family Search, they're court records that are created after an individual's death. And they usually regard to the distribution of their wealth, of their estate, any of their inventory on their estate or whatever they hold in their possession. And then there's various types of probate records, which I will talk further a little bit more about their admissions, their orders, their decrees, and their distributions. And this digital copy of a will is from the Library of Virginia's records. They're online, and I'll show you further where you can access some of the online wills at the library. So this is a will from Henry Harrison from 1783. Now, this is a question I'm going to ask you. Besides reading what is on the screen, why are wills so important? And why are probate records so important? Don't look at the screen. You got to tell me.
So that
They can be tip-offs to other people that are associated with the family.
Ding, 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 ding. Anything else?
It's passing on property.
That's another thing. What else can you find? You can also find some family drama if there's family drama and
Oh,
family
yeah.
drama, or if there have been court cases that gone on, they might have mentioned it. That there's a lot of valuable things you can find out about children, about spouses. You can find out if they purchased land, if they sold land, who they might have sold that land to, who they want to inherit it but can't inherit it, or if there's an infant that they want to inherit it, but somebody has to be the trustee to oversee it. You can find all of that information in wills or other probate records.
And the
this
biggest-
is also, okay, go ahead.
I was going to say the biggest thing for me is being able to find the enslaved population, how
Yes,
they transcend through the generations
yes.
and doing, okay, I'll stop there.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just going to mention about the emancipations. And many times they have different criteria and expectations as to how they're going to be emancipated, what time frame, whether they're going to be moved out of the state or relocated, all of those things. Then guardianships as well.
Yes, all of that information is in there, especially for anyone that was manumitted by their enslaver at their death. They will have information on who gets freed first. Usually it's anyone over a certain age. Usually it's between 25 and 30. That's the range that I've seen most of the time. And then it tells you how the children are going to be freed. If some of them can stay on the property, sometimes that's in there. And then due to Virginia law, if it was after 1806, they would have to leave the state unless they got special permission from the General Assembly to remain in the state. So all of that valuable information are in wills like this. And this will on the screen is a will of a woman. Her name is Elizabeth Carter from 1840. And this is also a digital will that you can access on our website that I'm going to show you how to access later. Well, there's some brief history about wills. The first thing you need to know is that wills follow, the early colonial wills more than likely follow the traditions of what was going on in the motherland in England. So most of the time, if the customs and practices of colonial officials usually followed that of what was taking place in England, which means usually if it was a gentry, a person of elite status in Virginia, they would have passed it on to their eldest son, or if there wasn't an eldest son, they would have passed on the second son or someone they appointed. But after the Revolutionary War and the United States formed as a country, we decided to split off with some of those practices. So that includes entails, and then that also ends primogeniture, and I will talk about that in 2 seconds. Does anybody have a clue what those two terms mean? Karen, you can't answer.
No, I'm not planning on.
So if you are doing, oh, my computer froze. Come on. Oops. So I'm having some technical issues today. My computer might freak out a little bit. I'm sorry. Entail is the automatic passing down of any of your estates to anyone in your family. So once the Revolutionary War took place and thereafter, it did not automatically go to the firstborn son. It could go to the daughter, but it didn't usually go that way. But sometimes if it well stipulated that the father or the mother wanted the daughter to have it, it went that way, but usually it did not. Primogeniture is the exclusive right of inheritance belonging to the eldest son. So that was gotten rid of. Those two things are extremely important when you're doing wills in Virginia, because those things usually follow English customs and practice in the gentry, which they did over there in time. In-state is also somebody that's died without a will. So usually that would be, oh, they died suddenly, or they didn't plan to have a will, or they just didn't get around to doing it. And then a testate is an individual who's died that has a written will. And a current are statements of money received and paid out by the executor in a settling an estate. The legate is the heir. The log is the executor's bond was also filed with the court. If the witness to the will was dead or could not be located, this will was logged. And then chancery. Have any of you heard of chancery records, causes, suits before? Yes, no. So chanceries were throughout the state of Virginia. They were mainly in all of the circuit courts in Virginia. And a chancery cause usually deals with equity. So that means, okay, so one son is the eldest son, and he thinks he's supposed to get everything. But the third born son says, no, I'm going to challenge our dad's will because I think I should deserve more than what he stipulated in the will. So they would go to a chancery court and fight over this information to figure out who could get ownership of what in a will. So we'll talk about chancery records further in this presentation. And then this screen is a family tree from our collection. It is the Fisher family tree. And I don't have the date when it was donated, but it's a very ornate. It's a giant size, and you can see all the names that are written on the branches as leaves. And if you have any other questions about any of the probate records, if you have any other questions about what counts as county or city court records, I would tell you to check out our research guides that the Library of Virginia produces on a range of different topics. So they can be on census records, Afro-American genealogy, church records, newspapers. All of this is available for you for free from the Library of Virginia's website. I'm going to stop right there. Any questions? If you have any, you can drop them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself before I move on. Yes.
This is Steve. I've got a quick question, and that has to do, and maybe you'll get to it if it's something that you're going to head towards later on. Just let me know. But when we think about these records, I think about them being as much local records as they are at a state library. So can you talk a little bit about how certain records end up with the state archive?
Yes, I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that.
I knew it. I'm sorry.
It's okay. That's an important question to ask, and I'm going to get to that in right this second. So at the Library of Virginia, wills can be found in multiple locations. They can be found on microfilm. They can be found digitally. They can be found in the original format. But we are not going to have everything that every county or every city has. The reason behind that is because the county clerks or the city clerks control what they want to send to the Library of Virginia and what they want to keep for themselves. So if the city of Richmond decides, okay, we want to give you all of our wills from, let's say, 1783 up until 1865, and that's what the Library of Virginia is holding, and we're going to take care of everything from 1865 up to present. There's nothing that the Library of Virginia can do or say about what they want to give us or when they want to take stuff back.
To Ken,
like
just letting him know that the checks have been submitted to Guilford. Do you want me to say?
Okay, so yeah, we have no control over what is given to us, what we have control to take care of. So it's all up to what the clerks decide. I would suggest coming to the Library of Virginia first to see what we have, and then you go to your local county courthouse or wherever the local society to see what is available there. because usually, most of the time, we might have it if it's earlier enough. But if it's later into past the early 1900s, or past the early 1900s, more than likely that's going to be at a courthouse. And Stephen, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that's very helpful. I was trying to decide, as I've thought about this, where do you start? Do you start at the Library of Virginia, or do you start locally? And you've just answered that, so thank you.
Perfect. So when you're looking for all of this stuff, I would advise, if you're looking for wills between 1632 and 1800, I would tell you to look at Clayton Torrance's Virginia Wills and Administrations. That's going to be an index book that's at the Library of Virginia. We have multiple copies of it, and you can search by the last name to see if wills are actually there. And I would also search Wesley Pippenger's Index of Virginia Estates. That will tell you if they had a estate in Virginia and if possibly there is a will available. At the Library of Virginia, you can find wills multiple places, like I said before. They can be in the original form on microfilm. They might be included in Chancery Records, and then you can find them possibly in our Chancery Record Index. And then you can possibly find them in our Lost Records Locality database. So when you are trying to find the county that you're looking for, and you're going to say, oh, let's go to Bland County to see if there's any wills, we have made it super simple for you. We have categorized all of our records that are available on microfilm into 23 broad categories. So they're business records, they're wills, marriage, vital statistic records, land records, their free Negro papers and registrations, census records. All of that is going to be brought out. That information is going to be organized by the counties first, and then the independent cities second. Make sure you know that we're not going to have everything, and not everything is going to survive, because Virginia had a whole lot of wars, has hurricanes, fires, and courthouses. People destroyed records. They were stolen. There's a lot of different reasons why records might not survive. So don't think that, oh, I'm just going to go to the library, open a drawer, and I'm going to find everything for my family. Sorry to tell you, that's not going to happen. And you come to the library, we're not going to be like Henry Louis Gates and hand you the gigantic book and for you to flip through to find your family. That's not going to happen. We will be glad to help you research and tell you where to look, but you're going to have to dive deep in the records. And then to access what's available on county and city on county records and city records on microfilm, you should use this website right here. And I can show you how to get to that once I'm finished if anyone has any questions. So this is an example of what it would look like when you get to the page, the county and city records on microfilm website. So it would tell you the date of formation of that county, if it was formed out of any other counties, if it had any record loss, and then what's available for that county. So luckily for Charles City County, this is the original county, so you don't have to look in multiple places. However, the Civil War destroyed a lot of records for that county. So we might have wills for you, but we might not. So just be open. You might not find a will for certain counties due to war, due to other natural or human disasters. So this is another example of a county, Buchanan County, that was formed out of 2 separate counties and then made out into one county. So you want to look, anything but prior to 1858, you want to go and see if Russell County or Tazewell County might have those records. But also be careful, because records were destroyed in 1885, and then another flood in 1977 destroyed a lot of records. So be prepared that a lot of records might not have survived. And so when you find out there is a will that might be on a piece of microfilm, you would go and then you would scroll down to the section that's entitled Wills. On the side, you're going to see what reel it is on. So this is going to tell you the reel number. And then you might wonder what this ILL means. Does anybody know? Karen, you can't answer. No idea? Well, this is our interlibrary loan. So if you are connected and have a standing library card with any public library in the state of Virginia or at a university, you can access our microfilm. They will send a copy to your local library where you can use it at your public local library. While you are there, you have a certain amount of time that you can look at it, and then it would be returned back to the Library of Virginia. So all of that is available to you from the Library of Virginia or at your local public library. It is also important to remember that some of the microfilm might be indexed, but some of the microfilm may not be indexed. So if you see that it has index repeated at the end, you're going to want to possibly scroll to the end to see what exactly is on that microfilm, to see if it ends at a certain point, if it ends at letter S or it ends at the letter T or C. You want to go there and see what's available instead of spending so much time rolling through the reel thinking it's going to be there.
Quick question. Are the interlibrary loans, how long do they last normally in terms for microfilm like this?
I knew someone was going to ask me that question and I forgot to look. I think, don't quote me on this. I think it might be 2 weeks. I'm not sure, but I think you can check that out at your public library. They should have a definite answer for you. And
Okay.
then I know at one period during the COVID pandemic, we weren't doing interlibrary loans, but I do believe that we picked that up. So you can do that again with us. So if you have any questions about requesting it, go to your local public library and then they will get in contact with the library. Okay, we talked about chancery records earlier. They're available at the library in the original form, and then we have, with the help of the local county courts, made a database for you to access them from home. Like I said earlier, chancery cases and causes or deal with equity. If the executor did not correctly do something, an offender could go to a chancery court and debate over the chancery. And you might wonder why I would tell you to go to a chancery cause. Do you have a guess why I would tell you to go to a chancery record? Why you might go to a chancery records to find a will? Why would a will be in a chancery record? If someone's debating,
They either owed money or they, somebody owed money to them.
yep. And then the will had to be submitted to the court for everyone in the court, especially the judge, to review. So if you say, okay, I looked in the county and microfilm wills and there's no will there, I would double check that our lovely handy dandy chancery record index, which is available online to anyone that accesses our Virginia Memory website, and you can access this from home without a library card. So this is a partnership between the Library of Virginia and all the local county circuit courts throughout the state. This helps preserve any of the records that are being put into the system and then preserving any of the records that are still at the local courthouses. There are over 274,000 cases indexed on this database. There are over 11.5 million images that you have access to download, you have access to print, you have access to transcribe. You can do whatever you like with these records. And so you can access this at home, and if you have any questions about that database, I can walk through it at the end on the website. The one that I love personally that can help you a lot if you can't find a will in the Chancery Records Index, and then you can't find a will in the paper, in the original form, and then you can't find a record in Chancery, you're going to want to go look at our Lost Records digital collection, because collection brings together a lot of Chancery records or any other court cases that we have found that have been destroyed. So we gather, okay, so if there's a Chancery case that has a will in it, we are going to put it in this database and make it available for you. Just to let you know, there are two types of loss when you deal with records damaged or completely gone. They're catastrophic or considerable. And somebody give me a county they're doing some research on, and I can tell you if it's considerable or catastrophic.
King William.
King William. I'm going to have to tell you that is catastrophic.
Yep, I knew that.
Okay,
Surrey County.
Surrey County. Let's see. Surrey County, I'm sorry, that is considerable loss. You're not going to have catastrophic where a lot of records are going to be destroyed, but a good portion, some of these early records are going to be destroyed.
Orange County?
Orange County, let's see. Orange County. Luckily, I don't see Orange County on my list. I can tell you a lot of the damaged or destroyed records usually take place on places on the eastern shore, but then there are also going to be a lot of loss on counties that have had court fires or have had near battlefields during the wars, like the Civil War or the Revolutionary War or different wars like that. That's where they're going to have a lot of record loss. And then if you want to know more about which counties are considerable loss or catastrophic loss, I would tell you to look at this research note here on the screen. Can you see my arrow? Yes? On the screen, my little arrow?
Yes.
No.
No? My
No,
little
I'm
mouse? That's going to be my
I'm
mouse.
l-
So right here where it says for more information and a listing of lost record localities, see the lost record note. That's going to provide information on which counties are considerable loss and which counties are catastrophic. So when you get to this database, you can search by name, you can search by specific type of record, and then you can search for a locality. So if you know the person's name and you know that there was supposed to be a will and you know the specific county they were from, you can enter all of that information in and narrow your research down. But if you have no idea which county they were from, or if it possibly was in another, that county was broken out of other counties, you might want to leave it to all localities so you can search, have a wider search so it might bring up more people. However, you have the chance of getting somebody with the same name, because in Virginia, we have a tradition of naming everybody John Smith or Matthew Park or something. There's a lot of common names. So be wary of that when you're doing some of your research. Any questions? We're going to take like 2 seconds. I'm going to answer any questions on anything I just covered. And then we're going to dive into the examples I found and where I found them and what is so valuable that you can find in some of these wills. Any questions? Yes, no, maybe so.
Ashley,
Yes.
I don't necessarily truly have a question, but I'm actually my mother had brought this Zoom meeting to my attention, and so I'm on my quote unquote lunch break.
Mm-hmm.
So I have an all employee meeting at 3:00, so I'll have to jump off at that point. I'm enjoying this because I'm very deep into ancestry. On both my mother's side, she's out of Spotsylvania County, and my father, who was Charles Gant here in the Plains. And so I'm enjoying this. But are you able to share the PowerPoint slides, or these are specifically just for presentation right now?
I will be happy to share. I'll send out a handout to Karen and she can send it to all the people that registered for the event. I'm happy to do that. But you just might not have all of my notes, what the presenting notes with it. I usually keep those for myself, but you can have the slides if that's okay.
Yes, yes. Thank you. That would be helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions before I move on? All right. So we're going to look at the will for John Amos for 1865. And I'm sad to say, all of the, not sad to say, but most of the records that are in our lost locality records, which these wills came out of, they are not transcribed. So that means you're going to have to possibly print it out or stare at your computer for a little while to actually figure out what is going on in the date of what's going on in the document. The library just produced a short webinar that's available on our YouTube channel about how to read old handwriting. So I would check that out first and then go into any of our documents to see if that helps you with reading the old handwriting. But I transcribed these for you. So this one is for John Amos. It's dated 1865. And it states, I, Peter P. Parentis, clerk of the County Court of Nansemond County in the state of Virginia, do hereby certify the following is a true and accurate acted for the last will and testament of John Amos, deceased, date of 11th day of May 1863, are the duly recorded the 14th day of August 1865. I'm going to stop right there. What is the first thing, valuable thing that you find out in this opening part of this record? You could unmute yourself to answer. Do you know?
Clearly, date of death is important.
The date of death, because you can find out, not, I will talk, Virginia has some weird laws and stipulations with our death records, but if it was a later date death record, date of death, you can find out, oh, I can go look in this, I can go look in this county and go look in this, at this time period to see if I found a death record. This also can help you verify dates of death because you can go back to, if you have a family Bible, if you have something that possibly has a date of death on it, you can verify it by this record because this was performed by the clerk of Nansemond County. And then further, the will states that he's giving tracts of land to his eldest son. He would like to give it to his son, Levi D. Ames, which allows you to know who else to look for if you've never heard that name before. You can also find out, oh, these are some people that are close nearby. They have probably some friends. There might be associates, business partners. You can go and see if you can find any of their records and possibly see if that ancestor is mentioned in any of their papers as well. And then you can also find out, excuse me, the sneeze. Excuse me. You can find out exactly where the land is located. And then you can go to our extensive map collection to see where your family held land in Virginia, and then see if that land is still around, and then see, you can go see who had that land, gained ownership after the land after Levi did. So that's all that's available in this one document that you just had to take some time and read. Any questions? I see I have a couple of questions in the chat. Let's move on. Why is it rare to see a woman's will? Does anybody know the answer to that? Karen, you can't answer. Anybody else have any idea why it's rare to see women having wills?
Well, a lot of times they weren't allowed to do that, or they were in the male's name who actually managed the property.
Ding, 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 ding. That is correct. Most of the time when women got married, all of their accounts went over to their husbands. And if something happened to the husband, the husband would would stipulate that the eldest son or whoever he decided would take over whatever was brought in by the wife. And then there's laws and different things that stipulated that a wife could get a certain amount of the dowry that she brought into the wedding or whatever she brought in, but a large portion of that would still go to the appointed heir. So this will here for Rebecca Bell, dated 1838, states, "In the name of God, amen. I, Rebecca Bell, being of sound mind and memory, do make," I couldn't transcribe what the next word was, the following my last will and testament. In the first place, I give and bequeath to my daughter, Rebecca Branch, all of my estate, both real and personal, that is given to her, and all the interest in real estate to which I am entitled. I'm going to stop right there. Why is that sentence, very long sentence, important? What invaluable information did you find in that one long sentence?
Well, you see an heir, first
You
off,
see
in
an
terms
heir.
of a daughter, and it
Yes.
talks about what she wants to do. And then it also says to the stuff that she's entitled. So there may be other things there that she might be excluded from.
Exactly. And then you realize that her daughter also doesn't have her mother's name. So that is extremely valuable when you're doing female genealogy, because you never usually find a woman's first name or her first name ever, usually, unless it's stipulated somewhere. And then usually you find her by her husband's name, like, you go, oh, come on. If you go back here, you see John B. Haynes and his wife. You don't usually see what the wife's name is at all. So it's very important that you get to see that Rebecca is named with her first name and her married name, so you can possibly go and find more information on Rebecca. And also gives you information that she's passing on personal property and real property. That can mean she has land, she has wealth, or some other kind of estate that most of the time this would have gone to a male heir, but the mother is stipulating, no, my daughter inherits it all. Excuse me. And then in the second sentence, you find out who her husband was, because you can then go and find out in the husband's will, if he had one, what he left behind exactly for his wife. Because later on in the will, if I remember correctly, she mentioned some things, but she might not have mentioned everything. So everything that was in his possession more than likely came over to Rebecca, but Rebecca might have not listed and said all that information was going to be given over to her daughter. So that is the valuable stuff that you can find in wills. And these two wills came out of the Lost Records database that are available online, digitized for you to download and to print and do whatever you would like with at home.
Quick question, Ashley. If a couple only had female children, what did the law stipulate in terms of how property was passed down? Did the women then inherit that, or did it go to some other male, like a nephew or something like that?
It depends on if the heir was a woman and she was married. So in the case, let's say Thomas Jefferson's wife, Martha Jefferson, her father, John Wells, left her a lot of estate. Once he died, she inherited a lot of land. She inherited over 100 enslaved people, but it went to the husband. It didn't go to her directly. It went to her husband. So if she was married, more than likely it went directly to her husband. It didn't come to her. If the will stipulated that it had to go to her, it could not be inherited by her husband, she would have to manage it. But most of the time, women of that time period unless they are very independent and strong-willed against their husband, most of the time they let their husband or an heir or a lawyer take over the running of those accounts. Most of the time, if if they were single or they were not married or they were widowed, they were able to inherit information. But those are really, really rare. And if they still lived in a house with a male figure, those male figures would inherit that, would take over controlling that as well. So I hope that answers. And some of that stuff changes over time due to laws and stipulations.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
You're welcome. My big announcement. The Library of Virginia has become an affiliate of Family Search. Woohoo! We've become an affiliate library of Family Search. So that allows anyone that comes into the Library of Virginia access to the entire Family Search database. So that includes the stuff that is free online and the stuff that's not free, that you have to be in an actual affiliate library or the Family Search headquartered library out in Salt Lake City. So you have access to this with a library card if you come in to the library. We have computers that will go to this affiliate status website personally there, but you can also access it from your own iPad or computer if you come to the library to do research. Then, if you have any questions about wills, about deeds, about Bibles, if the record is even at the Library of Virginia, is it at another institution, you can call, email. I don't think we have fax anymore, but you can do a lot of, you can get in contact with us in multiple ways. And please do not be afraid to contact us. We are happy and extremely willing to help you with anything that we can help you find. So you can email our archives reference. You can call us about any reference questions that you might have, or just strictly library reference questions, anything about checking out books. And you can also contact us about our interlibrary loan program. But now I want to say thank you. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, or walk through the library's website or Virginia Memory to show you how to access some of those rules that I talked about today. Thank you. And please feel free to drop your questions in the chat or unmute yourselves.
This has been great, Ashley. Thank you very much.
Any questions? And then it doesn't have to be about wills. It can be just general genealogy questions as well. Yes. No. I like questions.
So I'll follow up with a question. So, as I'm thinking about trying to look into probate records, I'm trying to do using the fan principle around a person that I'm looking for. And I'm thinking about how to come to the library. I'm trying to think how to strategize about how to go about going through these records.
Okay.
So when I'm thinking about a certain person, should I look at all of the records associated potentially with that person, or should I be just looking at all of the chancery records? I mean, there's a lot of ways to slice this.
Yes, and it's a lot of work. So it just depends on what you decide and how much time you have. So I would say go on to our, hold on, let me get this out of the way. Go on to there's my mouse. Virginia Memory, which is coming up on the screen, which is virginiamemory.com. And you would need to go to digital collections, go to collections A to Z, go to the C, go down to the chancery records, and then you're going to want to see what's available for you to have access to it. So this is going to tell you what all the counties that are here in Virginia, what's available on the Chancery Record Index, what's available at the library, and possibly what's available strictly at the county courthouse. So I would say start here, see what's on the Chancery Record first, and then if it's not there and it specifically says, hold on, I can show you. I'm going to do a quick search.
So we're not seeing your screen, we're seeing only your PowerPoint presentation.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on one second. there. Now, can you see my screen?
Yep, just switched.
Okay, so let me go back to Virginia Memory. This is the home page. You're going to go to Collections A to Z. You're going to go down to C. Scroll down to the Transfer Record Index. You're going to go right here where it says Availability. And it's going to tell you all the counties and what is available on the original on here, or what's available on microfilm, or what's still at the clerk's office. So for Louisa County, we have post 1913 remains in the Circuit County Clerk's office. So you have from 1753 to up to 1913, we have all of that information. It might be in this index, or it might be at the original form, or it might be on microfilm at the library. But anything after 1913, you're going to have to go to the local courthouse to see that information. So I would check out all of this stuff first, and then decide, okay, I've seen all the digital stuff. Let me research what's in that information, and then see, okay, I need to go to the library to see this county and this information on that microfilm reel. Or if you have access to Ancestry, do some of that research prior to coming to the library, and then narrow down, oh, I'm going to spend all today looking at all the wills for these 3 ancestors in this particular county. So that's how I would approach it. That's what I advise people usually do. It's sketch out a plan, because it can be overwhelming when you come to the library and you see the vast amount of microfilm containers that we have, and you're like, I don't even know where to start. I don't know what wills are available, what's available for that county. I would say do all the preparation that you can, so you are prepared to come to the library. Does that help, Stephen?
Absolutely. I'm really looking for that strategy in terms of how to go about it. So I appreciate it. Thanks.
And then one other thing, you can go to the city and I can type. City and county records on microfilm. Here's how that little section that I was talking about during my presentation. Here's all of the counties and then all the independent cities. But then you can write down all of the information. So if you need any specific will on a specific reel, you don't have to do that at the library. I would write all that information down. So when you get there, you tell the person at the microfilm reader desk where you have to sign in, I'm looking for reel 14, 15, reel 18, reel 82. So you can go straight to the microfilm reader, load it up, and do your research. So that cuts down on some of the procedural work that you would have to do as well. So I hope that.
Excellent. Thank you. That's wonderful.
Judy's question is, what about going after a will if the deceased owed somebody money? So that's also going to be in a chancery record, and it also might be in another court case. So they might be suing the heir of that person. So you might want to look in for the will, and then look for a court case with the whoever the heir is supposed to be. So that's going to be in court. So you're going to go to that specific will, see who that deceased person named as their heir or the executor, or whoever is going to be taking on reading and making sure everything takes place, and then go to see if there's a chancery case for them, or if you need, or some other county other court record as well. Judy, I hope that helps. Does that help? Judy's still on here? Okay, perfect. Are there any other questions? I like questions. You have a little bit more time. Yes, no, so do you need me to walk through anything on the library's website or Virginia Memory? Yes, no, maybe so. All right. Well, Karen, I'm going to turn it back over to you. You're muted, Karen.
Maybe that was trying to tell me something. Maybe I should. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Ashley. It is a pleasure as always to have you with us and to share from the library's aspect. We're, as I had mentioned in the beginning of this, we've been abstracting information from various records in Fauquier. We're trying to name as many enslaved people in Fauquier as we can. And one of those record series has been the probate. And Angela's taken the lead in doing that abstract work. And I don't know whether she would like to share what things have come up in the work that she's been doing or not. Angela. Now she may be, okay, she's there.
Okay. It's quite interesting. I have been intrigued by the disease process of the enslaved peoples, how many young babies die as a result of some of stillbirths, how large that is. And that is both Black and white mothers lose their babies quite often. In the wills, I'm very impressed by the number of emancipations that are specified. Once emancipated, they have to be removed from the state of Virginia to a free state, and several are listed as being required to go to Liberia, the American Colonization Society. So that's some of the main things I've really been intrigued by. But just to, I don't mean to brag a little bit, but we have entered about well over 20,000 entries of enslaved people by name, mainly first names. But with that, we do have who the property owner was at the time. And oftentimes they will list children of an enslaved mother. They also list the type of skills that some of the enslaved people had. Many of them were blacksmiths, carpenters, and those are specified. And one last key thing that I found, I guess I should have known, but I really didn't, is that the property value is often mentioned in, I guess, in the wills, I guess, at inventory, I guess, is the property value. And a great part of that value is the people that they owned. And that is quite provoking, I should say. It's something just to see that. If a property is valued at $26,000 and you see 18,000 of that is valued in humans, it really brings the reality of what slavery really did to for this society. It's quite unnerving. I'll just leave it at that. Thank you, Karen. I'll try to be better prepared next time.
Karen, can I hop in for 1 second?
Certainly, certainly.
The library has produced a database, a digital collection called Virginia Untold, the African-American Narrative. That is our database that contains all of well, not all, but a large portion of our pre-1865, pre-1870 documentation. So on Virginia Memory, you can go to Virginia Untold. You can search the narrative, and then you can go and look for specific types of records that you are looking for. And Angela brought up colonization records. You can search for, we have those digitized that you can access from home. We also were lucky enough in 2019 to get the Virginia Museum of History and Culture's Unknown No Longer database. That is their pre-1865 database of African-American stories and documentation. So that is all put together in Virginia Untold, and you can search for those records. And here are all the colonization records that we have. And then you can see that this is an immigrant's And then this is a full list. Hold on, hopefully. Can you see this? Is this big enough? I'm sorry.
Oh,
It's not big enough.
yes,
You can
yes.
get all of the names of the people that went, their age, and where they were leaving from. So you, from this one, you can see that they're leaving from Norfolk and Dinwiddie County. And all of this is available for you to access from home with our library. I'm gonna leave it.
Now, Ashley, where did you
Go-
go? This is just so mind blowing to me.
Okay, so if you go to our Virginia Memory website, the main page, you
Correct.
can scroll down to Virginia Untold
Gotcha. Okay.
and then search the narrative.
Okay.
And then you can search specifically the combination of Virginia Untold and No Longer by itself together as one, or you can search just Unknown No Longer.
Okay. Wow.
Happy if you have any questions about that to email me specifically, and my email.
One of the great joys that I had on that was looking at the voter records for Fauquier County. I use the library's website a lot, and it is wonderful. And the Chancery Index, years ago, it didn't have a definer if a chancery suit contained a free Negro or enslaved person. And now you can actually check those boxes or one of those boxes if you're looking for a Blackwell chancery suit and you want to know if an enslaved person is named in it. And if it is, it will automatically come up. And that, for us, people of color that are researching, that is so wonderful. It is a great addition.
So you can, right here, this is how you can search the website, and you can just check if you know someone was enslaved or if you know if they were free persons. So you can click those boxes and then pick the county. If you know specifically who was the plaintiff and who was defendant, but if you know some names that were involved in the case, you can put them here. To let you know, you want to put the date range. When you pull up something off of our Chancery Record Index, the year that you see at the end, which will be like 1863, and then it'll have 3 numbers after that, -3 numbers, that is when the Chancery case was closed in that particular Chancery courthouse, the Chancery case. And then you can also check if there's land available, and if you know the index number or the local case numbers, you can also put that in there as well. So I'm done. I want to thank you, Karen, and I want to thank all of you for attending today. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. My email is in the chat.
Okay. Well, again, thank you, Ashley.
You're
And
welcome. Thank you.
next week, we're starting with Black History Month, and we would like to invite you on Tuesday, the 2nd at 1 o'clock. We're going to present Last Seen. There's a website with advertisements where people are trying to locate family members. And within that database, there are people from Fauquier County trying to locate family members. So we're going to talk about what we found on that particular website as far as the families of Fauquier County that were separated during and immediately after slavery. And then Ashley will be back on February the 11th and again on March the 11th. So we're looking forward to that. And so we'll learn a little bit more about some more records that are available for research. So we appreciate everyone for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. And always feel free to check out the website. Events are there as well as our databases. Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoyed it. Thank you.